Alright, welcome back to the SuperCoach Enough channel. In this video we're going to look at the round 8 review for SuperCoach NRL in the 2024 season. So what was a good week for us, finishing in the top 4% of the round with a 1,348, which actually managed to just about halve our season rank from outside the top 25k all the way into 13,185. So a big result, and I guess, all came down to the right choice of captain, I suppose. So, as you can see, we got Harry Grant with 95. He's been a bit underperforming, but this is the reason why we have Harry Grant, is he has this ability to churn out these sort of scores more often than any other hooker in the game. So, it's great to see him back in form. Joey Lussick made 26, so did make a little bit of cash. He did have a super low break even, but he is firmly on the chopping block this week for us. Excuse me. Payne Haas was a trade-in this week. We traded in for Taylor May, and I think getting a 76 was a great result, given May, I think, got about a 20, something like that. So I think that was a great move in hindsight. But obviously 1 week isn't long enough to really fully delve into the impact. Ruben Cotter with a 65, so, slightly above average game for him, which is nice. Sam Hughes obviously on the buy, and Liam Henry at 29, so, I think his price will have bottomed out. Break even of 30, so that was it -1 or something very low out of his rolling average now, so he'll slow burn and get us through the origin period. In the second row, we had Kai Pearce-Paul with a 45 and Smithies with a 45, so, chugging along okay. But Angus Crichton with a 119 and Britton Nicho on the bench with a 93. So, these, I guess, well done to these two guys. But we're not going to, panic on Smithies or Kai Pearce-Paul, obviously, through Origin. They're going to be very handy, being ineligible because of their English heritage. And also we'll have Kikau and Curran back in the fold too. So definitely some decisions to be made in our second row. Obviously the star of the show though, Nicho Hynes with a 160 as our captain. So, pretty much I think that got me over the line in all of the head-to-heads this week, which was nice. Nathan Cleary with a 51 was a little bit underwhelming, but it was his first game back from the hamstring, so might just be easing into it. But, I don't think we're going to get rid of him anytime soon. Potentially through Origin, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Tamara Martin with a 50 and Galvin with a 54, so we left a few points on the bench there. But, nice return from both of our sort of cash cow, I suppose, 5/8. Centre wing was a little bit lacking, so Jack Bostock with a 24. So I guess finally having a game where he didn't score a try or assist, and that's probably his flaw. So we are conscious that he can produce that, but the Dolphins are in good form. Probably just had an off day against the Knights. RTS with a 58, so pretty much on par for his season so far. So no need to panic there. Talon May was our other trade in this week, and didn't really work out for us with a 39. But we're not going to panic. He's, getting a little bit cheaper again. So, I don't know if he'll feature as the slap pick this week. I think if you want to trade him out, you can. There is potentially some good downgrade options. If you wanted to upgrade him to someone else, I can't see the harm in that. But I'm going to try to hang on to him as a bit of a pod at that discounted rate. Kale Ero with the 70 was probably the star for our centre wing. So continuing to make cash, score points. As long as he holds his place in the side, we'll keep him. Kiraz obviously on the buy, and then Strange and Schiller. So I guess without Fogarty, a bit directionless perhaps against the Sharks. I didn't really see the game. I sort of caught glimpses on the TV, but wasn't really watching it. So potential trade outs there. if you're pretty well set everywhere else, you could probably trade both. There's a couple of options, but there might be a couple of other positions we want to look at this week. The fullback, so Tedesco with an 81, Pappenhausen with a 92, so decent returns. Tedesco's price has probably bottomed out after that point game. So yeah, break even of 61, still not fantastic. He did have that 41 against the Storm too. But I guess if you look at it as, he scored 47 against Penrith, 41 against Melbourne, probably the top two defensive teams so far this season. So other than that, he hasn't scored below 70. Obviously, injury affected game there against the Dogs. So I think, it's a tricky one because there is a really nice downgrade option this week. But I think you are selling Tedesco essentially at the bottom. So it's something you need to weigh up. Excuse me. But we'll have a look at the head-to-head stuff before we talk initial trade thoughts. So, like I said, got all of my head-to-heads up, but obviously we only really focus on the SuperCoach enough leagues on this channel. So, 1348 to 1271 for Super Troopers. So I had Adam Finau-Blake, and I saw that score on what was the first game, Thursday, Arvo, and thought I'm in a bit of trouble here. But I guess, Tommy Turbo with a 55 was underwhelming. Probably expected more. Sean Lane, probably, that's about what I would have thought he got. But, when he's in the team, he can always score more. Val Holmes and Scott Drinkwater. So I guess I didn't expect them to hit their projected scores against Penrith. Val got a try, which sort of obviously boosted his score up nicely to a 76. But Drinkwater with a 40 or 39. I suppose is about right against Penrith, so I wouldn't panic and trade him out if you've got him. No one's really scoring against Penrith at the moment. Jeremy Marshall-King with a 70, it's obviously a nice point of difference over me having Joey Lussick, although it looks like we both have Lussick. So I actually had Grant, so that worked out all right, but definitely on the radar. And Dylan Lucas with a 67 is nice, and Tarpany with a 51. So I guess it's just these slight sort of advantages like Teddy over Turbo, Grant over Jeremy Marshall-King. I guess Pappenhausen was a big win over Drinkwater. So I guess that cancelled out for Noah Blake's big score. But just having a look, I can see at 1400 there for a poll in my house. We'll definitely have a look at that. Oh, will we? Because we've got a 1508. Serena Sinners. I like the team name. So, where we got? We've got Angus, Harry, Paps, Eli Katoa with the 78, Dylan Brown with the 64, and Finu and Turbo, so probably the two worst scorers. Leo Thompson, 52 is not too bad for a front rower, so that's fine. Holmes, Marshall-King, Eero, SJ, RTS, Ruben Garrick with the 145, so obviously that was the other big play that you needed in your centre wing. Nicho Hynes is captain, obviously, getting the job done. That's massive. I wonder how that went for like the highest score of the week. That wouldn't be too far off, I thought. I'll have a look at the 1400 because that is a fair effort as well from Paul and Maha. So Sam Walker with a 172. That's awesome having him in the team. Ruben Garrick as well and Angus Cross. So tunning up for days. Blake Brayley with an 89 is awesome. So you're getting a 1400 with, four of these low scores is epic. Joey Manu with the 87 on Anzac Day. That's a good return from him. Saw Milkman's got a 1400 as well. So I think we've seen Luke's team most weeks, but SJ doing the business. Obviously Angus, Harry, Paps, Ruben Garrick, Captain Hines. Looks like a lot of people Captain Hines, which was the right move. So, second one. So, a bit of a more comfortable win over Mr. Nuffleupagus. I think I got it right on the second go. So, having Terrell May obviously didn't help, but did have Ruben Garrick. So, I guess other than that, a few falling flat. Tommy Turbo. Luke Brooks will be interesting with DCE out for a couple of weeks. Sean Lane and Joey Lussick is the auto emergency, so not ideal. Greg Marzi with the 29 was a bit disappointing too. Bostock as well, Taylor May as well. Yeah, so fair enough. Having a look through here, let's see, we've got a 14.25. Let's have a look. So Fanua Blake, Tamari Martin, Tedesco, Cam Murray with 83 was a good return. Olaquatu is 69, but obviously out for a couple of weeks too. Johnson, Grant, Connor, Captain Hines, all the key ingredients there. 1403 for the Cook Stars. Must be high up overall too. We'll try and have a look at that. But they had SJ, Joey Mano, Val Holmes, Jermaine Asako, JMK. Yeah, so again, more Captain Nicho, James Schiller as well. Yep, they were probably the big scores from that second league. And I guess the final one is a close game against two cap Strat. So let's see, Jacob Little, that would have stung, getting a 17. But Cam Murray, Ellie Katoa, VC Reuben Garrick, so nice. Would be interesting to see if he had the captain on Nicho Hines. He'd be a bit filthy, taking a 145, and it was probably the wrong move. But yeah, I guess it's probably something I would have done too in that position. So Ethan Strange is 23 as well, limited the upside there with the auto emergency. But on that, all players we've mentioned already, so I won't dwell too much on it. But yeah, got a 14-11 there for Brooklyn Knights. Looks like that's the only one that got past me. Oh, 13.99 from Forgetting About Paps. I like the pun name there, William. So 14-11, AJ Brimson with the 94. Nice. Jerome Hughes with the 95. Really good sort of port option at the halfback spot. Reuben Garrick. And didn't take the 145 VC. That's a ballsy move there, Brooke. Gutho with a 95, so that's a good return for Gutho. Trey Fuller, oh nice, gone early on the cheapie of the week, and it's paid off handsomely there. Nice one. Awesome. Have a quick look at Williams' team, see if we've missed anyone. Jolliffe with the 64, he's actually scoring okay. Last couple of games. Grant, Murray, Garrick, Angus, Paseka, a bit underwhelming. Piakura with a 55, solid. Reece Walsh with a 74, so against the Tigers, having that big win, thought maybe there'd be a few more points there, but is what it is. Very cool. All right, so we'll just try and have a look at some of those overall guys. See if does this say how it goes? Overall rank. There we go. So Milkman's into 50th overall. So well done, Luke, and the Cookstar's into 120th overall. So the boys are flying. Keep it going, lads. We've got is it Ian? I don't know how to say that one. Top 400, which is nice. The Little Fockers into 442, so 1440 this way. I just saw 1516 for Ian and his team. So 121st for the round. So I guess that helps with the other one that was 1500 to sort of guess. But yeah, Grant, Fanua Blake, Crichton, yeah, and Nicho Hines. Surely Reuben Garrick, yeah. Nick Meaney with the 84. Trey Fuller, yeah, nice, well done. That's worked out really well. So how am I going? 20th in this league. So a bit of work to do still, but looks fairly close. So yeah, what's that? 8,550. So I mean, 200 points. I'll be into the top 3.5 or thereabouts. So we're still a chance. I should do the draft league too. So in the draft league, so we had Marshall King, Payne Haas. So this is my other league. Sorry, they got done by a point. I was a bit filthy, but this one not so good. As you can see, Mrs. Fiddler has absolutely fed it to me. It's at 320 points or close enough to. So, and Marshall King, Barnett, and Terrell May. So, obviously, Terrell May was a bit of a liability this week. Even Isaiah Yo getting a 55 is a bit flat. Captain Cleary. So, really didn't have a lot going. I bought in Moses Sully and Sasangi just to cover my Bulldogs assets. And that backfired spectacularly. Sully with a -1. I should have just kept Kiraz. Paps and Tedesco for 81, which I would have loved to have taken as captain looking at that. But wasn't to be. So let's have a look at this super team that I got absolutely creamed by. So VC'd SJ. Yeah. Dom Young with an 88. Luke Keary 77. Nick Meaney 84. So, you start stacking those 30, 40 point differences. Gets out of hand pretty quickly. Damien Cook as hooker was probably one saving grace there. Captain DCE, so obviously comfortably beating my captain. Gutho with a 95. Olaquatu, Jakey Turbo with 64. Dylan Lucas in the centre wing. Sione Katoa turning up in the centre wing. And Cam McInnes with an 84. So just consistent across the park. So only 1, 2, 3 scores under 50. That's insane. Well done, Katrina. And saying that, we've got 1151 and a 1071. What an epic battle that would have been. So Nickel Cook started with a 180. I'm guessing that was looped, yeah. So 90. Dave Fafita with a 126. I did sort of almost allude to that with my other team, but I imagine the team of the week would have had him, Fanua Blake, Crichton, Garrick, Captain Hines, probably Munster, with his, what was that, 148. So there's probably some monster score. AJ Brimson with the 94 was good. I think we've already talked about him. Brian Ty with the 98, great return for him. Dan Gagai with the 89. Even Cody Nicarima with the 76 is good for this season. So, yeah, we took the Munster's 148 and missed out on Hines. So, Johnson and Haas in a very strong position, even though didn't get up this week, Steve. That is a very good halves combination you've got. Don't think we need to look at the others. They're all quite low. So, yeah, go back to Classic and we will try to have a look at the team of the week. They used to have a link up here, but clearly not. We might have to go by rankings. Round 8 points. 1780. Holy wow. Let's see, how many did I get right? So Harry Grant was there, yep. Fanua Blake. Didn't have Fafita. Had Crichton. Finny Filiaki with 86. That's going to be good for my fantasy team, which we'll look at later. Nicho Hines, obviously, is captain. Cam Munster, Reuben Garrick, Sione Katoa. Nice. Teddy and Walsh at the back, solid. So, didn't miss out in the centre wing, unlike ourselves. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 big tons. 80s and 90s throughout. That's fantastic. Well done. Clueless, even though the overall rank's not going good, the team was absolutely on fire this week. Imagine getting a 1725 and you can't even win the round. That's unreal. So he had Fafita. So I guess the sort of expected ones I would have thought through there. Had Munster, had Asako with the tunning up. So maybe just missed out on Garrick. That's about it. So yeah, some dead and sitting 3,000 overall. So well done, Alan. Killing it both in terms of the week and the overall. He's a Bulldogs fan too, so we love that. Oh, is that my score? Oh, no good. Never mind. Alan, probably Deadly Donkeys, probably a Broncos fan. All right, but we'll sort of look at trades because, as I said, there's a few things, a few moving parts this week. I guess in terms of the cheapies, if we just have a look at the most traded in, probably the two key targets this week is Jacob Gagai. Alex Johnson isn't too far away, but then Tane Mill has also got a couple of weeks on the pine. So you'd imagine he'll at least get his third game. So, a prime candidate for a Strange or a Schiller. And just based on their break even, if we quickly switch over, You can see Strange with the 103 is probably a more urgent trade out than a Schiller with the 74. I don't think he'll get 66 this week against Manly at Four Pines without Cherry Evans. I guess and Olakau'atu. I mean, they've still got Luke Brooks, who's a pretty good half, but to steer him around the park, and they've got Tommy Turbo at the back. But it might just be enough to just stable them, and the Raiders might get a little look in, and Schiller might be the beneficiary of that. But I guess what we could do is we could go Strange out for Gagai. Oh, Cash Cows works too. Why not? So as you can see, it gives us a few hundred thousand to spend. So then the move is what do we do from here? Because I guess the other issue is we've got Trey Fuller sitting here. So as you can see, projected to make 140k this week, which is pretty nice. He's 99 on top of will that be 87 in his first game? So it looks like he can play. The issue is, do we trade Teddy out at bottom? It's never ideal to do that, but I mean, he's going to make cash a lot quicker than Teddy is, and with Origin as well. Assuming the Hammer does get a start, and Queensland are pretty loyal. Um, so even if Fuller sits on the bench for a couple of weeks, he'll pop back up for a fair bit during that Origin period and make us a good amount of money if he can keep the form up. So, I mean, if we do that, we're absolutely swimming in cash. So the question is then, do we use the boosts? And if we do, we've probably got two things we could consider. We could get out of Schiller, and basically we'd have close to 1.2 million, so we can do whatever we want there. Or the other alternative, which I'm probably leaning towards, is just starting to shore up our hooker position. So Lussig's done his job for us. Obviously, Marshall King's been the target, so I think we just go straight to him. Obviously, if you're looking for value, Jaden Brayley, um, we'll cover around 13, 14 in your buy. Can make some money. He's playing 80 minutes. But I guess he doesn't play round 12, which is just something to be mindful of. So you do have to have cover for that week before Origin. But I mean, if you've got Grant or you've got pretty much anyone else, they should play round 12. But we've got the cash there, so we might as well just go straight for the top choice there. And so I guess as well, while we don't necessarily get Gagai for round 13, we've now got Fuller and Marshall King. So I guess that basically replaces Strange and Lussick that we're going to play. So it doesn't really affect our round 13 and 14 plans that much. If anything, we weren't going to get Tedesco for 14, so it kind of works out a bit better perhaps, depending on if Fuller plays that round. So, I mean, we could do something like that, and then obviously there's a big lot of cash in the bank. So, moving forward, we can look at some options like obviously Dave Fafita is absolutely crushing it. If we have a look at him at 820, he's probably going to make money this week. Yeah, break even of 42. So, I mean, if we can try and hold him over the Origin period, he's going to be a really nice pod. I forgot to check what he's at. 3% of teams, like that is super pod kind of territory there. Obviously, like we talked about, we could trade out Schiller. The obvious target would be Ruben Garrick. He's bottomed out at price at 600k, break even to 4, so he's on the way back up. Doesn't cover around 13, but we do know that, particularly when Tommy Turbo's not available, he slots into fullback and scores well. So it's a bit of like a Joey Marnie type situation. You do want to get on him at his cheap price to obviously take advantage of when he does get that opportunity at fullback to do his thing. But I guess, it's a matter of probably personal preference. Lussick isn't going to lose cash this week because he's on the bye. So it might not be as an emergent trade as the centre. But, I mean, Marshall King is probably going to be a more consistent scorer than a lot of the centre wing options. So Guess it depends. Probably we keep talking about we need to stack our back line a bit more, but there's always just so much value there. Can't help myself. Even if Schiller loses a bit, we do have Armstrong next week, who looked really good. What did he get? 84. People bring him in this week early. I guess it works well for people who brought in Fuller, but we do always like to give them that second game just to see, make sure they get through unscathed. It's nothing worse than someone playing their second game, getting an injury, and then we never see them again. Yeah, Max Plath's still an option, still crushing it. So, I mean, if you want to get him in your 5'8" spot, I think, he's up there with the top averaging guys. Doesn't have that explosive upside of like a Munster, clearly, or Dylan Brown, but could provide some solid base and obviously the coverage through Origin. Vanilla Blake, yep, bring him in, absolutely gun. I obviously went down the Haas pathway, and I think I'm going to be pretty happy with Curran and Cotter sort of rotating. Ideally, eventually Curran will slot up here once we're ready to ship these guys, and then yeah, we'll build around that. So yes, I think if I set up like this, hookers set, front row set. Obviously, we still want to get Fafita and maybe another gun in the second row if we can. Got the halves sorted clearly. 5'8", we'll definitely need to upgrade there. And then, the centre wing, there'll be enough value we can cycle players around, I think. And then also fullback, obviously. Um, you can use a few more trades there, just chasing those guns that have got that nice run, I think. So, in a pretty good position. Just got a little bit of ground to make up, but it's a long race, so no need to panic just yet. But we'll wrap the video up there. So, as always, if you've got any questions, comments, thoughts, feel free to add them below this video. Subscribe and like the video and all that stuff. I did that in the wrong order, but it doesn't really matter. But other than that, we'll catch you in the next one.